the thing in Russia, Sergey.
And we're live. Welcome back to another Corona Geek here where we talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK. I'm your host, Charles McKeever, and today we're going to talk about development conferences in Russia.
Yay!
So Sergey, I think the question was just asked, how did the development conference go in Russia?
Yeah, the conference was awesome. It's called DevConf, and the last year I was there with two talks. One of them was about Go language, another one was about Corona SDK. And this year I just had a Go language talk. And last year it was only me with a talk about Go, but this year there were 4 talks. So it's 4 times.
Oh wow!
Go became more popular. So yeah, it shows some improvement in interest to the language. So it's cool, totally cool. And yeah, I had a lot of fun time. I've met lots of new awesome people. I've met one guy. It's a Russian contributor to the Go language core. He's like the main guru. He's like the he's not in the Google team on Go language, but he's main contributor outside of the team.
Gotcha.
So it's very important person.
Did you do the penguin daycare example that you did on the show? Did you show them that? Is that what that was?
My penguin daycare was the conclusion of my talk. So I've already shared my slides for the talk on my Twitter, but they're in Russian, and I talked about what was my experience language-wise, how I started coding Go and Lua with Corona, and after that I described what are these weird words like platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, what Google App Engine is, and what other languages it has with Python, with Java, PHP. I described what are the differences, what are the benefits, and so on. And then I just talked about some key differences about Go on Google App Engine, about why it's the most performant language there, and just gave some advices how to use it there, and encouraged people to use it. And at my end slide, I just told them just go to my article about Penguin Daycare Simulator and read it, and it will get you to the point where you can just start writing things in Google.
Well, oh, good. Yeah, I know that you did that on show 85, on Corona Geek number 85. You did that whole demo of the Go app and Penguin Daycare and Corona. So if anyone who's listening wants to see Sergey's basically the technical portion of the presentation, I guess they could go watch Corona Geek number 85 on youtube.com/Corona Geek. Go check that out, and we'll put a link in the show note. Are you going to? You said you were going to translate that article into English.
Yeah, it's a lot of text.
Right. So you had to come up with the example. You had to write the code. You had to write the article, and now you need to translate it into English. So that's a lot of work. Yeah, definitely.
I got it in Russian, but yeah, translating in English, it takes much more time than I expected.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. Well, hopefully we can get that posted, and people can take advantage of that and walk through it. But if you definitely, like I said, if you want to go through Corona Geek number 85, Sergey's really done all the legwork there for you. So go check it out. All right. So that's good. And so did the meetup go well? There was a meetup on Sunday as well.
I kind of failed with the meetup because there's a website Habr in Russia. It's the most popular IT community in the Russian internet, and when I posted a note about this meetup on that website, I got banned for 1 month there because I chose wrong hub for this article. I should have chosen what's called I am advertising, something like that in Russian.
Oh, okay.
In English it would be. So I chose it wrongly, and I got banned, and not many people actually knew about it. I posted on some other meetup.com, in my Twitter, in Google groups, but only about 5 people knew about it, and about 3 or 4 people actually wanted to join it, to come there, and only one of them managed to come.
Well, that's about right. Those numbers match Meetup. Meetup is a very interesting animal. It has a huge potential to be able to reach a lot of people, and usually what happens is, no matter what event I have ever been to, 50% of the people who say they will show up show up. So the fact that you got a few people who actually knew about it, and then one of those people actually showed up, is right on par with the rest of Meetup. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 people or 2 people. It's only you're only going to get 50%.
So is the model that people are unreliable?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't. It's just an odd
It's
sort of thing.
Human factor.
I guess, yeah, it's the human factor. But yeah, you're not really paying anything for. There's a very low commitment level and things like that. Although I will say that here in Austin, I went to a beer run, and more people showed up than who signed up on Meetup. So they actually had the inverse problem. So they were kind of inundated with people who were just like they saw the sign, said hey, because they put a sign out on the street, and they saw the sign, and then they had this Meetup
Did
event.
sign say free beer?
I'm sorry, but I heard the word beer in there, and that pretty much...
That helps. Yeah, that always helps, I think. Maybe next time we'll definitely
the beer meetup.
Beer
Corona
meetup. Beer.
Corona beer.
Of course, that would be very
Corona
confusing.
beer.
Sure.
How about bear beer?
Right. All right. Well, cool. I'm great. I'm glad that all went well, and we look forward to seeing the article on that. So let's move on to some announcements here. We've got last week on Corona Geek number 93, we talked about Apple rejects. So I don't know if you guys have been keeping up on that, but Apple basically has said they're going to start rejecting apps that include incentives, I guess. Basically, anybody who offers rewards in exchange for, I don't know, in-app purchases, basically. Kind of circumventing the in-app purchase model, really.
Anything
So we talked
take
about
their money away?
Yeah, pretty much anything that kind of flies in the face of Apple's revenue model. You're guaranteed to get slapped down for. So we talked about that. We talked about Liquid Fun. We also talked about the Swift programming language. So if you didn't get a chance to see Corona Geek number 93, definitely go check that out. And also, I know a few of us here on the panel have been tracking what Vungle has said, their reply to Apple's announcement. And basically, Vungle has sent out a series of messages via email and whatnot, and talked about basically, the sky isn't falling, and we're on top of it, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and let you know if we see any problems. And I think this is a fairly smart...
From Vungle that they're saying that they start to accepting the applications, new applications.
I think this is a smart thing for them to do, right? They need to, one, kind of get ahead of the rumor mill, because it could, you could have a whole business model go away if people are kind of acting on fear rather than real information. And there's some uncertainty, so they got to figure out exactly, well, what does it mean. I don't think it's going to mean a whole lot to legit businesses like Vungle. I think it's going to mean something to developers who are trying to do arbitrage, where they're basically trying to make money off of ads, and in return they'll give customers in-app purchases or unlock things in their app. What do you guys think?
It's actually very confusing, because usually an in-app purchase costs you like $1, $2, and on Vungle you can get of one user clicking and installing applications up to $5. So it's higher than actual in-app purchase, and you can do it several times within your application. So it's got that ads, motivated ads, it pays more than actual in-app purchase. This is interesting, but from the point of guys who pay for these ads, it's not really good because people are not interested in the applications. They are motivated to install them, so they're just paying for nothing. So this is kind of bad, but still they get their installs, still they get their attention. So I know it's very confusing.
Well, I think it
What's
probably
better?
goes. It does fly in the face of Apple's revenue model, by cutting them out of the loop and not getting the in-app purchase. But like you say, yeah, it definitely, it's probably not good for the ecosystem to have advertisers advertising that aren't actually getting the value, because, like you say, the customer's just reacting to an offer, not necessarily engaging with the advertising itself.
From the user point of view, I like getting something logged by installing some applications, but it's not that all developers are offering that you can actually buy an app purchase or watch 1 or 2 times one glide, so it's different.
Yeah.
But the money are basically the same.
Well, there's a few other things going on in the community. I know Brian Burton, he's always on the show with us here. He put out a new app called 5 Second Frenzy. It's in the iOS store, so go check that out. And also Roaming Gamer. I know before you went off to the tropical islands, you published an app, correct?
I did, actually. I'm sorry. I wanted to give a shout out to 92, show 92, which I was unfortunately not able to hang out for. But I wanted to say thanks to Greg for the Flava Ed, which is I'm strongly considering making my new icon. So anyways, I got a real kick out of that, and I didn't get to say thanks on the air, and I wanted to do that.
I think we all need T-shirts that say Flava Ed on them.
I think so. We should start the Flava Ed Club. But hold on 2 seconds. You're trying to help me out here, and I'm not doing a good job of helping myself. Not ready. Yes, I did make a. That's not the right link. I did make a game.
It's like a game,
got
it's like a
several
game with games in it.
Sir?
It's like a game with games in it.
Yeah. So what I did was some time ago I made a match 3 game for Real Effects for their movie, and my wife said, that's really nice and everything, but why don't you make one for yourself first of all, sell it yourself, and it would be really cool if you could make a game. And I'm trying to share this while I'm talking. It's like walking and chewing gum. I'm not doing good here. Make one where the user could make their own game pieces and sounds and stuff like that. So that's what I ended up doing, is releasing sort of a match 3 game that includes multiple match 3 games, and then with the editor that's included, you can create. Let me see if I can get this to show up. Of course, it's not working. You can create your own pieces and board backgrounds and sound effects and stuff like that using the camera and the audio recorder.
Very nice.
So,
yeah, I think that's cool, and some people can basically make their own game pieces and their own sound.
Our idea was, well, her idea, I shouldn't take too much credit, was that let's say that you're having a wedding and you want to make a special little match 3 game just for fun for the guests, where you could take pictures of the bride and groom, you could take pictures of their parents or the cake, and turn all these things into little set pieces for the game. Choose a frame, choose a font, give it a name, do a few sound effects on the voice recorder, and bingo, everybody at your everybody can play this game while they're listening to the speeches. Because we all know who that is, right?
Right. Yeah, that's funny. Well, cool. Yeah. So it's called. Tell me what it's called again.
It's called Match 3 Me, which hopefully isn't too uninspired of a name, but I'm good with the design, terrible with the marketing.
Okay. So go check out Match 3 Me. It's in the iOS App Store.
Then
also, I know that Jen, she's not with us here today, but I know that she put out an app called Stretches, And it's basically this app that reminds you to do stretches, and it gives you a series of stretches that you can do. So, she's done the belly dancing app with the video in it and things like that. And I think that she's kind of following. She's also done a 7-minute workout sort of thing, and I think she's following that up with these stretches. So it's called Stretches. It's an iOS. Go check it out. You can also check out the show notes. We'll put a link there as well. Greg, you were busy recently revamping your office, right? So that was it a studio revamp? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I just kind of cleaned house a little bit, and then repainted everything, and then redid my logo and my website and blog design, and then got the logo printed on the canvas to hang up.
See, very nice. See, I like how Greg continually pretends like he's not any good at marketing, but he's redone his logo. He's posted pictures of his logo on multiple devices. So GP Animations is getting a good coverage, on his social media stream amongst his friends and family, and I think it's all good. So, some lessons, some takeaways. Ed, I can't hear you. You're talking.
Yeah, I'm talking without my microphone. I wanted to comment on what you just said, actually. I forgot to mention, Greg did some set pieces for the game, and this is an open offer for anybody out there who's a Corona developer. If you have a game already done and you would like to have me include a mini game in mine that uses your art and backgrounds, I can do that. And the way it works is you provide a few art pieces and a sound effect or two for the matches, and then give me a icon for your business or your app, however you want that to work, and a link for it, and then I'll create a mini game that when the user plays it, they can click on the icon, and it'll take them to your app or website.
I think there needs to be a Questlord pack.
Yeah, I actually wrote Eric about that. I didn't get an answer yet, but I'm hoping that he'll...
Yeah, he's on the panel. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Oh, hey! Good.
I think there needs to be a Questlord pack for sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome. If Eric, I don't know, I know that people are a little bit worried about mixing their IP or protecting their IP. But if it sounds good, if you think the idea would be fun, I'd be happy to do it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, in the community, there's a few other things that we need to talk about. One is if you're thinking about upgrading to OS X 10.10 beta and you're a Corona developer, don't do it. Don't do it. Apparently there are some bugs in 10.10, and they're on the Apple side of things, but it prevents you from being able to run the simulator and things inside of the operating system. So you're going to want to hold off on that until it's been resolved. Basically, we've submitted something to Apple bug report, and I'm sure they'll work on it. But it's a beta product. And I know that, Greg, you installed it and had a terrible time trying to get your system back up and running. Because
if you want to do updates, do it on your spare devices, not on your main devices.
Yeah, right. Do it on a secondary computer or something like that. Don't do it on your primary for sure. So anyway, so there's that. There's a blog post about it on the Corona Labs website. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Also, the Corona Composer GUI beta has been updated. I don't know if you guys saw this. We'll put a link in the show notes, but it's basically now there's resizable windows, there's full screen mode, multi-select, zoom in and out, and there's also a brand new sample project that takes advantage of all of this. So the previous sample project, I don't know if you saw it, but it was mice versus aliens, kind of the Angry Birds style of things where you were shooting a ball into a structure that had mice and soda cans and stuff in it, and that kind of fit this fixed canvas sort of model where you couldn't necessarily zoom out or you couldn't adjust the size of the screen or do anything like that. The newest version, though, allows you because it allows you to do all this. The newest project has a big graphic that extends off of the canvas, off of the viewable area, and you can actually pan the camera, and you can do things like put objects in Composer and then grab them and move them around and have the touch events kind of applied, and it's a really good update, and there's lots of great stuff. So if you are if you have access to daily builds, you should be able to download it and play with the latest daily build. It should have it included. And I'll put a link to the GitHub repo in the show notes as well. Also, special thanks to Billy at Different by Design for providing the graphics for that. So all of the artwork that you see in the example is provided by Different by Design. All right, so the other thing here is that Gremlin Interactive has put out a new set of plugins, one for Amazon Ads and one for Chart Boost. So I know that this has been kind of a thing for a long time. People have wanted, an official plugin. I think there's been some different ways to do it, so now there is a plugin that's in the plugin library that you can use. If you're a basic or pro user, you can have access to it. And also, while you're there, go check out the other plugins that Gremlin Interactive have put out for PayPal and Keep. So you've basically got 4 different monetization plugins you can tap into.
I also want to share my experience with another ad network, which is called Ad Buddies. You know it?
Ad Bodies?
Yes. They recently released Corona plugin for it about, I don't know, a month ago maybe. So I get about 2,000 impressions a day for my apps, which I installed it in, and some days I get $5 out of it, some days I get nothing. My average eCPM is lower than $1. It's not really great for me, but if I get more installs for my game, it might be good. So if you have a lot of installs, you should try it.
Okay. Will you put a link in the chat?
Yeah.
Cool. And then we can add that to the show notes. Sweet. All right.
Hey, Charles, do you have a link to Brian's app? I didn't see that go by in the chat.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I have that. I have a link here. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Just a second.
And while I'm distracting you, I've got something new going on.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying something new. This may not last, depending on how much it wears me out, but I'm trying to do a daily blog post on my own site covering some Corona topic. Usually what I'll do is I'll choose an interesting question out of the forums and answer it there, and then elaborate on it more in an article on my site, although I might also answer questions from people I know or just crazy ideas that come into my own mind. So the only reason this would be in doubt is sometimes I tend to drone on in my own articles and find myself spending a lot of time writing instead of getting something done. So.
Yeah, writing can be a daunting task. I think you're right. You just have to learn to just get in and get out, right? Even when we were originally doing all the show notes for Corona Geek, I felt compelled to create a very I wanted to make sure I didn't leave out any details, right? But the problem with that is, one, it took a very long time, and two, it was way too much to consume, right? I mean, it's almost like you just have to remember that the reader just wants to kind of get the details and get in and get out, and so that's the best thing to do. Okay,
I gotta
cool.
remember, not writing books anymore, just a short snippet.
Right, yeah. So send me your article when you do, and we'll share it out on Corona Geek for sure.
Okay.
And if anybody else wants to do that same thing, if you're writing about Corona and you want to share an article, send it to me. Corona Geek, Charles at coronalabs.com, and I'll make sure that we send it out, share it with the community, because I've come across some articles where great tutorials, but I accidentally came across it in the Google search, right? And I'm like, oh, well, I wish I'd have known about that, because I'd have shared it out for sure.
I want to start making Corona pro tip of the day on my Twitter, so maybe once a day, maybe several times a week, I will post something really short about some cool idea about Corona, like, I don't know, don't try to write resource directory.
Right. Yeah, I've seen some interesting posts come out on Twitter. As a matter of fact, I was just about to share one of them, but it was about Mac and Cloud. I don't know if you guys have been following what they're doing over there, but they're now offering Corona SDK pre-installed on their basically Macs in the cloud, Mac in cloud. So if you're on a Windows box or you're on an older Mac and it just doesn't support, the current version of Objective-C or whatever, then you can go over to Mac in cloud and you can get a box in the cloud, and they charge $1 per hour, $12 per week, or $20 a month, which I think is a good deal. I mean, if you have a Windows box and you're not interested in buying a Mac, or you're at a point where you're like, well, I'm going to upgrade eventually, but it's just like right now, we're kind of waiting for Apple to tell us what the next thing is, right? Maybe the refresh of the MacBook Air or whatever it is that you're looking at. You just kind of want to wait. You could conceivably get yourself an account here and do your development in the cloud. So I thought it was cool that they added Corona SDK to the mix. One special note on that is that it's a trial version. So if you want to use your own license on their environment, then you have to email them and get that set up. But they can do that for you. And I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can take advantage of it. But basically, what a good deal. I think it's great. I mean, everything's in the cloud these days. And then also, I say also. Let's get into the Geek Speak portion of our show. So last week we talked a little bit about Swift. We kind of went over some of the language similarities to Lua and the Corona SDK's philosophy of development and stuff like that. What we didn't talk about though are the things that Apple didn't talk about. If that makes any sense. We didn't get to that. We left off with that, and basically the things that Apple didn't talk about are iPhone 6 and wearables. There was no announcements of watches or any of that kind of stuff. What do you guys think about that? You think it's coming as with iOS 8?
Actually, it's really weird that Apple announces devices at WWDC, because WWDC is actually a developers conference, not we show off conference. So
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It makes sense that they didn't do it, but I mean, at least something. I don't know. I would love to have a teaser, right? At least something to kind of let you know as a developer, what's coming. Would have been good.
They're often known to show real devices that you can actually test and that perform well. So it just means they don't have how it's called, a showable device that can attract lots of views. I think so.
Right. Or they just got it under their hat and they just don't want to, they don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But so one of the things, we'll kind of do this in reverse. There were 6 things that they didn't tell us, and this actually comes off an article at appmarketinglab.com, and the article talks about all these different things. And one of the things that they didn't talk about, they talked about but they didn't talk about, was Xcode 6. And inside of Xcode 6, they have the resizable iPhones and iPads, which tells us that it's coming. Some different form factor is coming, and everybody's the rumor mill is huge. Everybody knows that something's happening. We just don't know what yet. So what do you guys think? Will you upgrade to the 4.7-inch iPhone or the 5.5-inch phablet if they come out? Which one do you prefer?
Can I say that I don't like iPhones?
Okay, sure. Yeah, you can say that. You can say I already have a 5.5 phablet and it's an Android and I don't care.
I could follow that on. I don't have an
Android phone.
Yeah.
The Luddite.
I just don't see real need to spend the $1,000 on a phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you're already a fan of Android, if you're already into that ecosystem, yeah, that doesn't make much sense. I just think it's interesting that they're throwing out something in Xcode that is resizable, right? They're not saying what the next size is going to be. It's just resizable, which kind of alludes to the fact that maybe down the road they're going to introduce other sizes, maybe. I don't know.
They'll probably bring out a bigger iPhone, bigger screen.
Or maybe an Apple TV.
Yeah.
You think the Apple TV?
Yeah, maybe developing for Apple TV with the same tools, and it's going to be resizable to screen as well.
That's possible. It's funny that you asked us this question if we would upgrade, but I don't think we as the developers, we're not the same as our customers in a sense. I think we're driven by different economics. So for us, we're like, oh my, yeah, it's nice. There's another form factor coming. It's exciting as a development target, but it's not something we can say, well, I'm just going to throw out $1,000 and buy that puppy because we can't afford it. I mean, or we don't want to afford it. I don't know if anybody here agrees with that, but
Agree.
I mean, there's so many form factors out there. Just trying to keep up with like one base model for each one, like one Ouya and one Android and one iPad and one iPhone. It's too much. So personally, my answer.
There are companies who have all iOS devices, like hundreds of Android devices, and they perform different tests on their of their development. But for smaller developers, it's just not an option.
Right.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm excited about the new form factors, but I don't think I'll be grabbing one anytime soon.
Okay. Well, I can definitely say I will be grabbing one. I like my iPhone. I've liked it from day one. I like the iPhone 5. I am jonesing for a bigger screen. I just basically want a bigger piece of real estate, you know, and I've even considered in the past switching to
bigger
Android
screen.
Just because of the bigger screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like the HTC.
But yeah. But I'm very much plugged into the ecosystem of Apple, and so I'm just going to wait for the next phone. But I think that Xcode's having this in there, and then the visual editor lets you define the storyboard size, and I think this, I don't know, it's some interesting stuff. So that's one thing they didn't talk about. They didn't talk about what size the next things are going to be, but they did provide a tool that's flexible enough to be able to let you define what size you want your apps to be, which is kind of interesting. The other thing that they talked about but didn't talk about was 2 screenshots. So in the App Store, having 2 screenshots on your listing. So everything now is going to be, instead of a horizontal scroll in the App Store, it's going to be a vertical scroll, and which they say will give you more access to, customers will be able to see more apps, but I don't really. I don't know that it really lets you see more. It lets you see the app that you're looking at, and it lets you see the top of the icon for the next app, which is kind of a teaser as to what's coming. But anyway, so you get these 2 screenshots. So what they didn't talk about is how to manipulate those screenshots, how to use them effectively. So what do you guys think? Is there best practice for that?
Can you clarify first of all? They're saying they're getting rid of the 5 screenshot scroll, and we're only going to have 2.
So, well, they're not going. It's not that the 5 screenshot scroll is going away. You know how when you go and you do a search, and then you come up on your category, and then you're flipping from left to right, and you see one app at a time. On that card, it's a card-based system. On that card, you're only seeing 1 screenshot, and then when you tap into the app, then you get your 5 screenshots. What they're going to do is on that app listing, before you tap into it, you're going to have 2 screenshots that show. So you have twice as much opportunity to say, hey, this is what my app is about, this is what my game looks like, here's why you should buy it.
2 screenshots simultaneously or by scrolling?
They're going to be 2 screenshots. From what I've seen, it's 2 screenshots simultaneously, like side by side.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which I've actually, like Greg, I have iOS 8 installed, and when I bring up the App Store, it doesn't have that yet. It does do the vertical scrolling, but it only shows 1 app at a time, or one app screenshot.
So just, I don't know if you can see this, but just to be clear, you're talking about replacing this, where you're going to have 2 screenshots instead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a general idea.
I'm the slow one in the audience. I'm just catching up to what you're saying.
No, yeah. Well, I watched the the thing, the presentation. I wasn't packing for tropical islands.
Was there still the same amount of applications in a row, or there were just two apps in a row in this mode?
Well, you're talking about on the iPhone version, on the in the iPhone App Store. Is that the question?
In any.
Like, I don't know about how.
With the update, are they going to reduce the number of apps shown simultaneously on the screen? Does it take those screenshots?
I think on iPhone they're actually increasing it. So like if you trying to find up a good example here, but basically if you let me search. Okay, first of all, the iOS 8 beta, the App Store doesn't work. It's very slow, and when I try to do the search, I can't search for things. But basically, what you're doing is instead of going from a horizontal scroll, you're going to a vertical scroll, and then what you're able to see, probably 2/3 of the screen is the app listing, and then you can see the top of the next icon and the title of the next app. So it's almost like a teaser. So and you have a continuous scroll. And so that's what you have there, and then you're supposed to the screenshots that they've shown. I haven't seen it actually in practice yet. Supposedly it's going to have 2 screenshots on that app listing, and then when you tap into it, I'm assuming that you'll still have your 5 screenshots and a video. They're going to add videos, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Some people, okay, I won't go there. Before anybody, does anybody else want to answer this? Because I have something I want to say. But I always seem to launch before others.
What was the question?
The question that Charles asked was what we think about this. What are our thoughts on this?
Mm-hmm.
So
what's your answer?
My thought is I like it in the sense that 2 screenshots is better than 1, because I know that people almost never, I mean, they don't spend very much time at all looking at your game. So if you've got a chance to show them 2 screenshots, awesome. But I think this suffers even more from the same problem we already suffer from, which is if you don't get in the top slots and they don't see it within like a swipe or 2, you're doomed. You're never going to sell your app. Same thing on the web. It's just basically people see the top 6. I've got an iPad. I see 6 apps at this point, and even for me, knowing this, I still don't look any more than that when I'm searching.
Yeah, which is the same classic thing like you were talking about on the internet. I mean, if you're not on the first page of Google search results or near the top, the first 3 search results, then your chances of success go down greatly. However, I don't know if I'm, you say that, but if I'm as a consumer, if I'm looking for an app, I will flip through quite a few before I get to the point where
Are you looking for a specific app or a specific purpose usage? Satisfy a certain need.
Usually to satisfy a certain need. Like if it's looking for a specific app, I know it's in there someplace. I just have to find it.
So let me. You say app. You mean apps or do you mean game?
I mean both. I treat them both the same way.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe because for me, yes, I would spend more time looking for an appropriate app to meet my needs, but a game less so.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But I'll I mean, I'm not gonna spend days and days and days looking for a game, but if I'm if I'm looking for something specific and I'm searching through, I'll go through more than 1 page of results to look for that. So the thing that they don't tell you is how to use it effectively. I think that the best approach will be some combination of what we've already seen. When you go into the 5, you tap into the app and you see the 5 screenshots. Some people will put individual shots of things that are going on in the game or the app. Some will not do screenshots at all. They'll just do some sort of marketing images that generate excitement for the app. And then some people will do billboard effects, where they'll take, it's really a panoramic image, and then they will just slice it up, and then those are their screenshots, right? So now you have this billboard effect where all of them next together is one big long picture. So I'm going to be interested to see how many people try to do that with those 2 screenshots and try to create a larger billboard type image that features the different aspects of the game. So,
Right. Now, neither
know
of
that-
these two screenshots is going to be a video, correct?
not that I understand. No, I think the video is going to be in. Well, I don't know. I thought the video was going to be in when you tap into the app, but maybe not. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of information on that yet. The other thing that they're going to be doing related searches, which is like you can, if you think about it, you can go in and reverse engineer terms. So basically, if somebody goes in and they search for something, Apple's going to do kind of what Google does on a Google search, is they're going to give you related searches. So if you searched for ball, they're going to give you all the related terms to that, which I don't know what the related terms to that are, but they're going to give you related terms. So part of the article, like I said, this comes off of appmarketinglab.com. Part of the article said, as an app developer, I see this as an opportunity to rank for highly searched keywords. Assuming that I have a recipe application, then my goal should be to at least add the words cooking, food, and books to my keyword list or app name to be listed for those searches, as I know that they will drive traffic. And in his example, when he goes and looks up recipe, he comes up with cooking and food and books. So he's like, okay, well, if these are the related terms, then I should be targeting those related terms. The other thing that they talked about was the video previews, and they said that they were, the previews are going to be, I think, 15 seconds long. I think I either heard that or read that someplace, which is almost a Vine, a Vine video, or what's the other one? Not Vine, but there's another one, where you're doing like basically a 15-second commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept I think to keep in mind there is that it's harder to make something short than it is to make something long. Like I don't know if you guys ever watch the TED Talks, but those guys only get like 15, maybe 20 minutes to stand up on stage and give their whole presentation, of how their clean drinking water system is going to keep people from dying in countries, and they have to do that. And like, I'm serious, they have to do that in like 15 minutes. They have to get up there. Here's the problem. Here's the solution. Here's how you get involved. Bow. Right. And so I think while a lot of developers will want to try to do that themselves, I think if you're hopefully they'll be able to do it themselves. And if not, there are services out there like Aptaman, who we've had on the show before, who can actually take your concept and distill that down into a very, very short video. Usually the videos I've seen that they've produced are 30-second or 60-second videos, but I would think that you could do that in 15 seconds.
I think so. I got a question.
Just keep in mind that the video previews. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep thrusting my. I'm taking over your show. All right, Charles, you can retire now. I'm going to take over your show. Now,
awesome.
I already see listings that have videos. And another thing I see, which is sort of related in my mind, is that I see like these nicer listings where they've managed to put in special characters and formatting and colors and their descriptions. And I often wonder, how the heck did they do that? Did they get Apple to help them with that? Because I've tried it, and you're not allowed to put HTML in your listing. So how do they do it? And then how do they get those videos in there?
Wait, what did you say? Who said that? Was it Sergey? Was that you?
Sergey said something.
I didn't understand your question. Are you talking about how did they manage to get new formatting for the Apple listing?
So in the Apple listings, when you go into iTunes Connect, you type in your description, and nowhere in there have I seen anything that allows me to add special formatting, bold, colorization, icons, images, within the text, and yet in the store I see this. The other thing is, and maybe it's just me not doing my homework, I see companies that have listings with videos as one of their images. They got 4 images and a leading image that's a video in the iTunes store, and yet I don't see how to do that in the current iTunes Connect editor.
Of course, they're affiliated with Apple somehow. It's Apple helping them.
Yeah, that's what I was guessing, is that Apple was giving them extra bennies.
Yes.
That's just not right. That basically says you got to be big to win.
Well, you know, and they're rolling out these type of features to other people, so maybe they're doing it as a way to
Try it out.
Try it out, yeah. See how it works. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that they talked about, that we talked about last week, but we didn't really expand on, was app bundles. And app bundles, basically, you know, you can bundle up to 8 apps. 10 apps. 10 apps in a bundle, and then but you do that at a discount to the customer, and then they're able to purchase all of your apps or a bundle of your apps. So I think that there's a couple of things here. One is hopefully that will increase the amount of revenue that the developer receives on a single sale, although they are selling it at a discount. The other thing is that...
Bundle.
What's that?
Let's do the Corona bundle. The second.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the other thing, is that I think it increases your surface area and your keyword experimentation opportunities. So, like, let's say that you have, you have your 5 apps, and with the bundle, I think you can go in and kind of play with keywords, and you can, and it's one more opportunity to sell somebody something that you didn't have. So now you have 5 apps and a bundle. So they're not really talking about how bundles will be used, but I'm going to be curious to see how people try to manipulate the system and use it to their advantage.
So does it sounding like this bundling is a bundle of apps all from the same publisher?
I believe it is. Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be all from the same publisher. So if you got your
no cross-company bundling.
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question, because that would be quite interesting.
That would be very interesting. I mean, they're both interesting, but like the Humble Bundle thing that started a few years ago that took off so crazily and has been replicated. I like that idea.
Cross-company bundling is possible to implement, so it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how this would tie in with the family plan thing they've already introduced.
Mm-hmm.
The family members get to use your app. One person buys it, and part of your group or whatever, they get to use it for free.
Yeah, I want to know how that works. I guess it works the same as it does today, right? I mean, like my kids both have devices, but we all use one common login. So whenever I buy an app, or vice versa, whenever they buy an app, we all get it. So I guess it's really no revenue loss to the developer.
Right.
What do you guys? What do you think? You think there will be some
loss, or some what?
Some loss, some revenue loss. So let's say or you think it will help encourage people to have their own separate accounts, and then they'll make their own purchasing decisions.
I think it's actually going to help the developers because what you couldn't previously. Yeah, what you do is you've got a family. Your family uses the same login. Great, everybody has access to the same apps. That's not totally, but almost completely useless if you're trying to run a business and you'd really like people on your team to use some tool that's out there, but you don't want to spend money for everybody who joins the team. So that sounds like it's not going to help the developer, but what it does is it frees them up to do team apps, which is sort of like a new territory in a way, in this usage, and then that gets them more exposure. So temporarily, until everybody's doing it. Did I make sense there? Or?
Yeah.
What I imagine is that you agree with a bunch of people. You are making a bundle. Someone is making a bundle, and you're all agreeing with it. And when in the App Store, when somebody buys the bundle, you get a sale for your app, but it's not like $1, but a portion of $1, like 20 cents or 10 cents, depending on how many apps are in the bundle. And I guess that's it. So users get all the apps that are in the bundle as regular installs, but with lower price. The question is, who will own the bundle? Maybe it will be shared, like between all the accounts, and all accounts can, I don't know, make adjustments to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't see. I don't. Yeah. You were talking about cross developer bundling, and I don't know. I would see that just developer bundling was what they were talking about. Just
Right.
you bundle your own apps. Cross developer bundling is interesting, but I think that's going to be if it ever exists, I think it would be a whole separate animal.
Actually, I didn't say anything on the developer bundling. As a single developer bundling your apps, I feel like my first thought is that's accelerating the race to the bottom. We already hit 99 cents for an app. Now I can give my app away for 10 cents.
Yeah.
Really? So
Yay.
you feel like it's a further slide towards not being able to make a profit on something.
Yeah, it'll be the next race that makes 10 people money and 1 million people nothing.
See, I always viewed it as different, that when people are accustomed to paying 99 cents, why should they pay more? Right? So, even if there's an extraordinary value, it's like, oh, that's $1.99, and I'm like, really? I mean, just a few years ago, we were paying a lot more for software, and software that's just as good as this 99-cent app. So it seems like the bundling moves the line more towards a higher price. Even though you're bundling, you're still, in the customer's mind, you're training them to expect a higher price for things. So maybe eventually at some point you could sell an app for $8.99 and people wouldn't choke.
Maybe if
the
this
bundle prices are higher than $1.
What's that?
I think that's only true.
Uh-huh.
That only works if people bundle and sell the bundle for more than $1. But if they sell the bundle for $1, we're in the same situation we are now, but it's worse because now the individual profit per app is whatever the fraction is at that point.
I got you. I got you. So what I'm the unknown, the X factor here is that I'm assuming that if you sell 10 apps, you're going to sell them for $7.99, and you're saying that somebody could conceivably, if they're allowed to, they could bundle 10 apps and sell them for 99 cents.
If they're allowed to, people will do it. Lots of people will do it.
It might be okay if Apple introduces a whole new category of bundles. So if you get in top 10, top 100 of bundles with your bundle, it might be a good thing. I don't know.
I'm not saying this is. I think you're saying what I was trying to express earlier, which is this bundling thing is going to be. It's a new territory. So what it's going to do is it's going to create a bubble of people doing it. They're going to first they'll try to sell them for a few bucks, and then they'll hit 99 cents. And what that's going to do is the people who are already successful and have the good games or the games that people are looking for, they're going to make more money. They're going to make less money per game, but they're going to lead the charge on the bundling thing. So they're going to make the lion's share of the profits. And then this is going to push everybody else's price point down even further. That's my first thought. I mean,
obviously, big companies will take over this area because they have lots of their applications and they will bundle them and they will just spam the bundle category if there will be one.
Right.
Yeah, well, which is it's going to turn into a land grab for sure, because I would imagine that people, if you're allowed to put bundle in the title, or if it's categorized as a bundle in some way, that people would want to basically flood into that space as quickly as possible, right? So you're going to want to have a whatever bundle as soon as possible, because I would think that's now what people would want to go search on. I'm not going to go search on an app. I'm going to go search on a bundle. So
they want
get your bundle, your bubble bundle, your bundle.
Bundle of bundles. Yeah.
So the
a
day
bundle
when
of bundles.
Apple releases their bundling feature, we must make our bundles like everybody.
So you need to have. The problem is you've got to have multiple properties to bundle. Otherwise, what are you bundling? One app?
I have to. Of my own.
Yeah.
I got like 4 or 5.
Multiple properties. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's interesting. So the other thing that they talked about is trending searches. Basically, this idea that they're going to show us keyword information or search information as it's happening, or they didn't talk about really how much real time it is, but trending we would hope would be somewhat real time, maybe at least within a couple hours or something. But anyway, they're going to show trending searches, and that way we can look at what people are looking for, and then maybe be able to tailor our listings to that, or look for app ideas that we can build towards. So if people are looking for things that aren't available, that we could actually jump out there, which would make something like Corona a very good tool to have, because you'd want to be able to create something quickly, right? So you're going out there, you're trying to find out what a trend is, and then as soon as you have a spark of an idea, you'd want to jump in and create something as fast as possible. And I think the Corona would be able to let you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing that they talked about. We've got a few more minutes. I tell you what, we won't get to the code that we're going to go through today. There's a bunch of sample code that I want to talk about, but we will definitely explore that next time. The couple of things that I wanted to leave everybody with before we close out. One, the World Cup is going on right now, which I'm sure everybody is hyper aware of. But did you know that there's an open API for it, so that you can track your teams and players and all that kind of stuff like that? And this would be actually useful if you're creating a Corona app around the World Cup. It's from Kimono Labs. I put a link in the chat, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But they've got a whole thing there they've set up, and basically, if you've never been to Kimono Labs, they are like this. They're basically kind of like an aggregator where you can go in and you can create an API off of bunch of different data sources, and then publish it out with your own endpoints. So you can have your own. You have a JSON format. You can have an XML. You can have a CSV. You can have whatever, and then you have all these different endpoints that you can tie into. So it's almost like an API creator from a bunch of various data sources. So like there's the Open Data Initiative for government to provide information to people publicly. Well, if you go to some of these sites, the information is provided publicly, but it's not really in the format that you want. So what you could do is you could take and you could tag into some of these things and pull it through Kimono, and actually create a more usable API that people could access. That would be either JSON or XML or whatever format they wanted to tie into. So they've got this World Cup Explorer thing it's up-to-date data on all 32 teams and 736 players. Player data from past club performance, RESTful JSON endpoints, detailed API docs, and an API explorer to test the API before writing any code. So basically, if you want to be able to mix and match and kind of filter down and get the exact data set that you want, you could play with it in their API explorer. So it's kind of cool. The other thing that I came across this weekend, I don't know about you guys, but on the Mac, one thing that drives me insane is when I click on the little green plus button on a window, and it expands, but it doesn't expand to the whole window. This is the one thing that I like about Windows. When you click on the maximize, it maximizes. It goes the whole window.
You mean it does what it advertises to do with that button?
It doesn't do what it doesn't do what you expect at all. It'll go top to bottom, but it doesn't go left to right. Right? It doesn't.
If you hold Shift while you click the green button, it will expand both ways.
Oh, sure. Come up with an answer for us.
Hold Shift. I'm going to try that. Well, if you don't want to hold Shift, you can go to irradiatedsoftware.com. They've got a thing called Size Up, and it does more than just what I'm just making the screen big. But you can actually map key shortcuts so that when you don't even have to go up to the X or to the green plus. You can just hit the keyboard combination and boop, the keyboard shortcut, and make whatever window is active, make it completely fill the screen.
Can
the other thing.
Can I just think it and have it? Do they have an ESP?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, if you have the hardware. But it also does things like you can map it to keystrokes where you can make your active window go to the left of the screen. So if you wanted it to be like half the screen on the left or half the screen on the right. So imagine, for example, you're in Sublime, and you also want the simulator to be on the right-hand side. So you got your code editor on the left and your simulator on the right-hand side. Well, in SizeUp, you can set it to where you can say, okay, just with keystrokes, I want this window to go to the left, and I want this window to go to the right. And you can set, they either have presets or you can do custom sizes. So if you're doing web development and you have an editor on one side and the web page on another, or if you have Lua code and server terminal console, on another window, then you can kind of mix and match different arrangements, and it's pretty cool. And they also have a thing that's if you're using multiple screens, SizeUp can make a window go from one screen to the next. So it's not like Spaces where you have different desktops, but if you have two different monitors and you want your Lua code to jump from your primary monitor to your secondary monitor, you can hit a keystroke and boop, that Lua code will jump over to the secondary monitor, and you can hit another keystroke and you can have it either fill the screen or you can have it go half screen or whatever. It's got a bunch of different configurations. Go check it out. It's kind of an interesting tool. It's like $13, and for me that was kind of a no-brainer. Of course, I didn't know about the shift thing, so thanks, Sergey.
You could have saved yourself $13. You just knew where the shift key was.
I could have just sent Sergey $13.
Email Sergey and give him, $6.50. You save yourself half and say, Sergey, how do I solve this problem?
That's right. Exactly.
Just Google Mac key bindings, key shortcuts, and you will see lots of them.
Yeah. This guy has some interesting stuff. He also has a thing called he's got a free thing in his lab section of his website. I say he because whoever does the videos is it's the same guy over and over again. So he's got another one. I can't remember the name of it. It's called Tuck. So you know how what do they call it at the bottom of the screen on the Mac? Not the taskbar, the dock. You know how the dock goes up and down, like it tucks away and then it comes back up, right? It removes itself. Well, with Tuck, you can do that to apps. So if you wanted Chrome to tuck itself off to the edge of the screen on the right-hand side, you could tell Chrome, I want you to tuck, and then whenever I mouse over the right-hand side of my screen on the edge, then Chrome will come back out, and then when you mouse away, Chrome will go away, just like the dock works. And you can do that to any app. You can do it either to the left, the right, or the bottom. I don't think it works at the top, but you can do it at the bottom. So if you have I had 3 different terminal consoles up, and they were all like little pop-ups that just you mouse over, they came up, and I did whatever I wanted to do, and then when I went away, they go away. So it kind of saves you some screen real estate. So those are some things to explore. We will talk about the code next time. We'll look at some sample code and talk about some snippets and stuff, and hopefully encourage people to explore the sample code. Is that it? Is that all we got?
That's it.
Good. All right. We're coming up on the 100th show here. It's getting pretty close. So if you guys have ideas for special things that we should do, definitely email me, charles@coronalabs.com. And if anybody here on the panel has suggestions, let me know. I'm open to ideas. Dr. Burton mentioned it a long time ago, and I think it would be something good to do for the 100th show. So let me know if you have some kind of crazy idea. Don't limit yourself. Just let me know. We'll see what we can work out. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. Be back here Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back here talking about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Until then, have a great week and happy coding.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hey.